Hey there, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a massive wealth of data, specifically Investopedia's recently updated research on the 25 best passive income ideas, and distilling it all down into a single, highly actionable quest. We aren't just going to list things off like some boring textbook. No way. We're turning this data into a structured roadmap with one very specific, laser-focused destination, earning your very first $100 in passive income. $100. Okay, sure, it might not sound like $1,000,000, right? But honestly, that's exactly the point. The internet is literally flooded with overwhelming noise and all these sketchy get-rich-quick schemes promising you'll make millions in your sleep. It's too much. By anchoring our goal today to this highly accessible, totally realistic financial milestone, we're cutting right through that noise. Because here's the secret. Once you build a system that generates your first $100, you've got a blueprint that you can actually scale. So, what does this all mean? Well, the real question we're answering today isn't just how to make it, but how fast can you earn it passively using the resources you already have sitting around? Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to break down the absolutely most effective paths from Investopedia's research to get you straight to that finish line. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to hit 5 stops. 1. What is passive income? 2. Earning with what you own. 3. The digital sweat equity path. 4. The investor's first $100. And finally, 5. Taxes, risks, and reality. Starting off with part 1. What is passive income? Time to bust some myths. Before we really get rolling toward that first $100 milestone, it's absolutely crucial that we bust this pervasive get-rich-quick myth. Genuine passive income, it requires an initial setup. In fact, if we look at the IRS, they technically define passive income as unearned income, specifically net rental income or income from a business where the taxpayer does not, quote, materially participate. So what does that actually mean for us? Well, the strict criteria basically say if you're dedicating more than 500 hours to a business in a given year, you're actively participating. To truly be passive in the eyes of the law, your ongoing day-to-day involvement has got to be minimal. And this brings us to a really fascinating distinction. Online, you'll constantly hear gurus calling stock dividends and high-yield interest passive income. But actually, and this is key, the IRS technically categorizes those as portfolio income. Active income is your day job wages, while true passive income is your net rental income or being a silent business partner. Now, we are definitely going to look at portfolio options today, since they do meet our goal of earning money without daily labor, but it's super vital to understand this tax distinction as you're building out these revenue streams. Moving right along to Section 2, earning with what you own. Best part, 0 initial capital needed. All right, let's look at our first really actionable path for hitting that $100 milestone. The absolute beauty of this route is that it requires 0 initial capital. You're simply utilizing the physical assets you already have sitting around your house or your garage. Based on Investopedia's data, the income potential here is fantastic. I mean, you could literally wrap your car in advertising and make $100 to $400 a month just by driving your normal commute. Or maybe you rent out some premium storage space, like, say, a climate-controlled basement for a local wine collector for up to $500 a month. But consider renting tools. If you rent out a specialized power drill or a high-end camera for just $25 a day, you hit your $100 goal in just 4 days. You're basically turning a weekend hobby purchase into a fast income stream, and hey, you're finally getting paid by that neighbor who's always borrowing your stuff anyway. Now, what's really interesting about this is the balancing act between those high rewards and the somewhat hidden realities of asset leasing. Yes, the massive pro is monetizing idle space, especially if you're offering premium vehicle storage for things like RVs or boats, which command top dollar because of strict HOA rules. But we gotta be real, the cons are definitely there. Renting out your tools means increased wear and tear, and renting out space for expensive stuff like classic cars or art, well, that means you might need to invest in some serious security upgrades and much higher insurance coverage. Next up, Section 3, the digital sweat equity path. Time to leverage those digital skills. So if you don't happen to have premium physical space or a garage full of expensive tools, no worries. This next path leverages your digital skills instead. It does require a pretty heavy upfront time investment, kind of substituting physical space with digital hustle. Honestly, calling it passive in the digital realm is a little bit of a misnomer at first. Creating an online course on platforms like Udemy, designing custom apparel for print on demand, or coding an app, that demands a very active, highly time-intensive setup phase. Step 1 is the build. Step 2 is fighting for visibility through App Store optimization and SEO. And it's only at Step 3 that you finally reach that glorious, magical phase of automated sales and subscriptions. To hit your $100 goal here, you might want to consider the e-commerce subscription box model. Investopedia notes that these boxes can bring in anywhere from $20 to $100 per subscriber per month. Just think about the math on that for a second. If you curate a highly specialized premium niche box, maybe it's specialty coffees or some unique hobby supplies, securing just one high-tier customer hits your $100 milestone every single month on repeat. The upfront work is heavy, for sure, but that recurring revenue, that is the ultimate digital prize. All right, Section 4. The investor's first $100. Letting your money do the heavy lifting for you. Now, this route does require upfront capital, meaning you already have some money saved up, but it involves the absolute least amount of physical labor or digital hustle. If you've got the cash, your money can actually do the work for you. And the spectrum of investment yields makes this perfectly clear. Government and corporate bonds offer a highly safe, predictable 2 to 5% annual yield. Real estate investment trusts, or REITs, let you earn from commercial real estate without actually having to go fix a leaky toilet, offering yields of 1% to 10%. And then there are index funds, which historically offer 7% to 20% or more, with the S&P 500 growing roughly 26% in 2023. Though, of course, that certainly comes with its fair share of market volatility. If you're looking for higher yields but kind of want to avoid the stock market's daily roller coaster, Investopedia highlights peer-to-peer lending. This offers a solid 4 to 12% annual return. These platforms basically connect you, the lender, directly to borrowers, totally bypassing traditional banks. It's an amazing alternative with very low minimum investment requirements just to get started. However, a quick reality check. You absolutely must diversify your loans across multiple borrowers, because if a borrower defaults, your capital is directly at risk. And finally, Section 5, taxes, risks, and reality. Let's talk about keeping your money safe. We're entering the crucial cool-down phase of this explainer. Look, earning your first $100 is a fantastic achievement, no doubt, but ensuring you can protect it and actually keep it, that's just as important. So the crucial point here is that revenue does not always equal profit. Margarita Chang, a top financial advisor cited by Investopedia, warns that people very often underestimate the initial and ongoing costs. Whether it's a franchise or direct real estate, you're on the hook for property taxes, maintenance, and insurance. And yep, that's even when the property's just sitting there empty. You really have to factor these hidden costs into your strategy before you go claiming pure profit. Furthermore, we've got to keep our eyes peeled for red flags. Investopedia explicitly warns us to run far, far away from pitches that say things like, act now before this opportunity runs out. Just don't do it. On the reality check side, it's absolutely vital to check your local zoning and HOA laws before you start running some massive commercial storage business right out of your garage. And beautifully, from a tax perspective, the IRS actually allows passive losses to offset other passive income. So say your rental property takes a hit one month, that loss can actually soften the tax blow on your other passive ventures. Kind of a nice silver lining, right? So we've covered monetizing the tools sitting in your garage, leveraging your digital skills for recurring subscriptions, and putting your capital to work in the markets. The blueprint is right here in front of you, and it all starts with just hitting that first, highly achievable milestone. It's like a giant puzzle, and you've got all the pieces. So take a look at your physical space, evaluate your digital talents, or check your savings account. The only question left is, which path will you choose to take action and earn your very first $100?